Hello, my name is Dmitry, and today we add in strict linter rules, authentication and server-side requests to our application template. What we got so far, we have in database with Prisma ORM, NestJS on the backend, and NextJS as a server-side renderer. We didn't implement any server-side requests yet, we will do it today. But first of all, let's add eslint plugin unicorn. This eslint plugin makes your code cleaner. For example, it disallows reduce, force you to use some new array methods, and this one got lots of rules like no for loop. You may like, may not. You can disable some of those rules. You can just don't add this plugin at all, but I will. Let's import all needed dependencies. I'm installing plugin unicorn with plugin prettier. I'll mix those together. While it's installing, let's add unicorn and prettier RC to our eslint RC JSON, the main one. Now extends plugin unicorn recommended and plugin prettier recommended. Now adding rules. Prettier error to just make our prettier work, and I already disabled some unicorns rules. Let's lint our application. Next affected lint all fix. Let's see what we will get. You see, we have already errors on our semicolons and other stuff. Let's run fix. It's already fixed our files, but we haven't one project fail. Let's see why. And next run web lint. I have an error in here. It says project without tags cannot depend on any libraries. I just don't add any tags to this project. So let's add scope client to this project and moves spawn. Let's lint everything all together. Now we're fine. We modified every file in our project according to our eslint and prettier rules. So that's actually our application so far. We only have a dummy page and one request to our backend, which get this from DB string for us. Let's check how it works. We're having GraphQL requests, one request from client side, and we getting user. So actually I want to protect this get user resolver and check and allow only authenticated users to be able to get actual user. And actually I want this to be happen on server side. So when we request in our HTML, I want already here have this data, like user data. And we only can achieve that by passing cookie with our authentication token. So let's implement that. Let's add Fastify cookie plugin, and I'm using version 6 as it works at the moment. In our main TS on application register, we don't have register method because we didn't specify. We are create Fastify application. Now we have it in place, and Fastify cookie, secret, process env cookie secret. We should add this to our local env file. A very secret that will work. Let's stop and run it again. So now we add the cookie. So now we should create authentication resource with resolvers and model. Let's go to README. That's the command to generate our resource. So in API, application resources, we have authentication. I'll remove tests. You should write your tests. Inside resolvers, we don't need much. We will use only login at the moment. I'll rename this one to login. New login input. That's important to have login input in here. Not create. But login. Change this input to login input. And we actually can extend pick type our user create input and get email and password from it. So we, from user create input, we pick in email with its validation and password with its validation. We generated those files in the previous videos. You should check out previous videos to understand how we got those validators files. So let's get login input in here. Name it to login. This will be login input, and let's return ID like email or something. So what we got so far, we implemented login resolver with login input, and it has some validation in it, and we fine so far. Let's actually add some logic to our authentication servers. We will need validate user. We will get here an email string and string. We will need some user servers inside. Private read-only user service. That's user service. Like that. Async. Y. Oh, okay. It's not the find user args. Should be data email. No, let's find user args. Where? Okay. Or email. And at the moment we need to actually get these user servers inside our model. So let's go to the user model and exports user service. Now in our authentication model provider, we should import user service. Now let's actually add sign up method. Create application. Do we still have it? Yeah. Let's remove it, and we don't need an entity. We'll use login input as well as on login and on sign up. And let's do the following. Let's construct what we got on sign up input, mail and password. We will need actually to encrypt this password by using decrypt. Can't see decrypt yet, so let's import it manually. Oh, I actually deleted the wrong one. But let's fix that quick. User create input. Email and password I need. Let's rename it to login input. So I accidentally did not remove it one more time. Now we have it from here, and on resolver, let's fix import. Indication we will return user. User. Now we're fine. Okay, what about the service? We should import decrypt. So import everything as decrypt from decrypt.js from decrypt. Yes, we have it in place. Decrypt. On decrypt we should hash password. Salt10 and let's name it. Let's name it actually plain password, and then that will be actual password. We should await for it. And then async. Okay. And when we have our password, we can create user. Service create password. Now have data and then email password. That's how we're gonna create our user. Let's actually add our sign up resolver. It's gonna be mutation pretty much the same. Sign up. nub input and up. Let's check out if it actually works. Let's try to log in with those credentials. That works because we don't have much logic behind it. Let's try to sign up. Yep, it failed because we have such user with such email already. Let's try some weird like YouTube test. Yep, we have already 11 IDs in my database. So that kind of works. Let's add actual authentication to this login resolver. To do that, we should add guards. Let's create folder guards with a folder auth guards, and let's create set auth guard. This guard will be responsible for setting cookie for our requests. Let's paste it in place. We need some packages as NestJS passport, as well as NestJS GVT. We will use GVT to authenticate our users. And that's pretty much it at the moment. We should add 2 more environment variables to our local env and localhost. So let's overview this file. We have http-only cookie settings. We will set this for our private data as GVT token, and users cookie. We will keep here in this cookie, we will keep some data that user can reach. Other data user cannot reach. So what we got here, we having some local strategy, auth guard. We getting requests and just unwrapping our login input from it and attach it to request body to make it work with a GraphQL actually. On handle request, if we don't have user or we have error or info, which is also error, we throw error. Otherwise, we will get our context. We get reply, which is Fastify reply or response for Express. And we will set access token, set cookie with access token, and we set cookie with expiration time, just to let us know if token will expire soon. And that's pretty much it for guard itself. And let's implement our local strategy. Local strategy will be pretty much simple. Let's create a strategy folder, and here we should create local.strategy.js. I'll paste my strategy in here. We will need password local for it, npm I passport local, which is our local strategy. So we extending passport strategy, which is actually, you can see it here, it is passport local strategy. And what we do here, we just trying to validate our user, and if we got user, we return user. If not, we throw in unauthorized error. We having this validate user method on our auth service. What it does, it actually doesn't do anything. Yeah, let's actually find for this user and check if this password correct. So bcrypt compare password with user password. As you remember, all our passwords encrypted in our database. Const is match. Wait for bcrypt. Check if match. If this will return user or null. Let's import our user from API types. And if not is match, return null. And actually we can get null as user, so if not user, return null as well. Fix the eslint problems. And here we're returning user if everything okay. Now we're able to validate our user. Also, we should provide local strategy to our authentication model. Oops. Authentication model. And then here, local strategy. And let's try to see if it works. Oh yeah, actually didn't set that guard on our login resolver. So use guards. Not auth guard, but set auth guard. Let's import our decorators and our guard. Wait for application restart and let's run it one more time. Cannot read properties of sign. Where do you sign? Oh yeah, we should have our JVT service. How do we set up our JVT service? Let's go to doc, not NestJS docs, and here we got our JVT model. We got to import it to our authentication model. So it imports not only user model, but as well as JVT model. Import it. JVT secret, we should have the JVT secret. And I wouldn't do it like that in production application. I suggest you to read the NestJS docs about how to structure and how to provide your env variables. No, this way is not the best way to do that. So let's add JVT secret, and it's gonna be very secret JVT. Actually, those are only placeholders. You should generate some random string, like 60 or more characters length, and not some short and dummy placeholders like that in production application. So let's back to our model, and it expires. Do we have expiration time on JVT? Yeah, it expires seconds. So let's go to our model one more time and process env expires seconds. And let's check what the doc says. Expression expressed in seconds or string scribing time span. What it means, it should be actual number, but from environment variable we're gonna get it as string. So I'm saying like 3,000 seconds as string, it's gonna be in milliseconds. I know it's confusing, but it should be number. So let's cast it to number. Now we have our GPT model in place. Let's get back to our playground and run this one more time. Secret private mask value. Okay, let's restart our application to provide our env variables. Yay, we got it. 1 hour. And what I actually want to do is validate this JSON. Let's go to application. So that's a token. Let's check the token in GPT.io. 9:50. Yeah, that's exactly 1 hour. So we got the right time in here, as well as on expires time with UTC +3. Yeah, we got our timing right. So we set our authentication guard. Let's actually add some pages to our application. So I'm just pasting some login and sign up dummy page. Let's lint it. And we don't have much in here, except that we should add a few login mutations and sign up mutation to use that. Now we should create our login mutation. So let's create new folder with auth, new file auth.gql.ts. That's a specific extension to be able to generate our use hooks. Let's paste our mutation in place. So sign up, we're doing not much, providing some arguments and getting values back. Let's save it and wait for it to generate corresponding file. And we have our hooks in place. We did it by using GraphQL code gen. I explained that in previous videos. If you don't know how to do it, let's check out the previous video. Oops, my camera turned off. And when we have our use queries in place, let's try to log in through our page. I have my dummy page without any styling. Let's try to log in. And we have error, cannot return a nullable field user email. Oh yeah, we not yet returning user from our login resolver. It is over. And yep, we should provide some. We have this set auth guard already returns user in the context. So let's context and should actually specify type. Let's add types. Let's import request and reply from Fastify and export interface I user context, I would say. So reply gonna be Fastify reply and request Fastify request, and also have user in here. So that's our user context. Let's assign type to it. So here what we're gonna do, we context user. Let's pass user in here. And let's return user. Later on we might add more logic, business logic to this service file, but for now we're fine returning just user. And let's try it one more time. Yay, we got our user with some requested data on it. We don't have name, that's fine. We don't got any cookies. And why is that? Because we should update our Oracle client. Let's rename it to client API and update it. So what changed? We have now API host as the environment variable. We added SSR cache, which we'll use later on. We have is auth error. We should implement that. And we also added here Oracle state to be able to actually get our SSR cache from server-side render. What's important for now is we also include credentials, so we're able to pass our cookies. Let's implement this util function is auth error. API new file sharing .ts, and that's pretty much it for this function. We check for some error, if message after unauthorized, then we throw. And then we say through its auth error. Let's check our I should rebuild my application, I guess, and check login one more time. No cookies. And we should also add this to our main file. So actually I wait for it. I don't know why I missed that. And also we should enable course credential true. Let's log in one more time. It's failed. Okay, I didn't pass environment variable to my NextJS application. How we do that? So now we rely on this API host. Should know, do we have it in local env? Nope. API host now. And in NextJS config, there are many ways how to do it actually, but I do like to do it like that. All my public variables are gonna be passed on and registered in NextJS config. Let's see if it will work right now. Yay, finally we got something. An application, cookies in place, and stuff. Okay, let's add users page. I added users page. It's just renders some user data. But first of all, let's add actually get users query. It's gonna be get users, and nothing more, and users and ID. Yep, we got it, I guess. Is it generated? Users, yep, we got it. So inside our page, we will get request from client API, get query. We don't have much here, just empty variables, and in the data, what we got inside, use query. We have data, on data we have users with those properties on it. Let's check, will it work or not? Yep, we have it in place, but I want to protect it with some auth guard. Let's implement auth guard. Let's go here and add check auth guard.ts. Let's paste logic in place, and we don't doing much in here. We unwrapping our context, passing request, handling request. If everything good, we return user. If something goes wrong, we are just resetting our tokens. And that's pretty much it for guard itself. Let's implement GVT strategy. Let's create a new strategy. GVT strategy.ts. And here we doing some stuff. We need one more type. How do I call it in here? User GVT payload. Let's export interface user GVT payload. It's not gonna be interface type because it actually false or ID string, something like that. So in here, I'm implementing a GVT strategy. It's not much code. Everything handled by passport itself. And that's pretty much it. When it validates, it returns false or it returns this object. So we specified it in type. What is crucial here, we have an cookie extractor. What we do here, we check an if cookie in here, and if we unsign it, we actually sign our cookies to be sure that no one else can send this cookie to us, only our cookies pre-signed. And when we unsign, we return the cookie value. We return it just in here. You see GVT from requests, and we return here our GVT from cookie. Actually, a few guys asked me to show example on how to use it with FireBase. It actually pretty much the same. We have a package name passport. Sorry if you can hear this noise. FireBase GVT. Let's go to GitHub. And as you can see in here, it's pretty much the same. Like we just implementing FireBase auth strategy and GVT from request. I'm doing it from cookie. You can do it whatever you want. Like you can keep it in for FireBase GVT token inside the cookie, inside the header or whatever. And you just validating it in auth service provided by FireBase. I'm doing it, I'm validating it on auth service provided by myself, pretty much. So that's how we can check our authentication. So let's add the guards to our resolvers. Yep, our resolvers covered with guards. Yeah, we're missing strategy. We should import our passport GVT strategy package, and also in authentication service we should also add GVT strategy, and we should be fine like that. Let's get our users, and we're able to do it because we have our cookies in place. Let's clear our cookies. Okay, and voila, I can't get my users. And that's expected behavior. Unauthorized. Yep, that's the thing I want. Let's actually try to log in and get users. Login done, users in here. But I'm doing client-side requests. I want it server-side. Because as you see, we have some blinks when we're refreshing our page. It's because we pull in HTML and then we're doing requests to our backend service to get the actual users. Now I want it to happen on server side because that's the whole point of NextJS, and it will be way smoother. Let's implement our server-side query. In NextJS API folder, I'll create, sorry guys for noises. I'll create server API TS. and I'll paste my server-side query. Let's have our linter in place. That's a bit of ugly TypeScript, sorry about that. But what we got here, we have in our SSR cache, not on client, we got our cookie. We provide our cookie to fetch options, and we do an actual request. If we don't have any error, we will extract data from our cache and provide it to Oracle state. If we have auth error, we clear cookies and redirect user to login. And on other errors, we will just redirect to login without clearing cookies. So, and actually, token expires as well. Yep, that will allows us to make server-side requests. Let's go to the users page and implement const export const get server side props. Not gonna be a thing. Context side props and return server query with the get users document, empty variables, and context of a request. Why is that? SSR context. Okay, SSR. Okay, let's check the type. That's gonna be SSR context, get server-side props context. Okay, fair enough. Context, and that's pretty much it. We should now be able to make server-side requests. Let's refresh our page, and we don't have any blinks. As you see, we don't do any XHR requests anymore. We just got our data from on the backend side. Let's try to clear actual cookies. Refresh the page. Error. Yeah, I don't implement any error page, but it redirects me to error. Login. Let's try to log in one more time. We got our cookies in place. Users. We got our users. So what we did today, we added authorization. We set some eslint rules, and we added eslint plugin unicorn, as well as server-side requests, which allows us to pre-render our page on server-side. If you like it, hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. And by the way, if you like content like that, I'm planning to create a kind of clone of real application with such stack. And if you have some suggestions on which application should I pick, can you please leave your comments down below? Yep, see ya, bye.